LinkedIn is the worst social media platform ever made. You see, maybe you're just searching for a job, or you might just be trying to do some networking. Whatever you're trying to get out of it, LinkedIn is sure to disappoint. Trying to use it to actually get a job is completely soul-crushing, especially for new graduates. Let me paint you a picture. You've just graduated, 4 years of education, maybe more, thousands of dollars in debt, and you're ready to start your career. So you do what everyone tells you to do. You get on LinkedIn. And then something strange happened. Instead of finding opportunities, you find yourself drowning in a sea of inspirational quotes from people you've never met, crying CEO selfie, and stories about how someone's daughter finally respects them now that they have 10,000 followers. You came here to find a job. What you found instead was fever dream of corporate theater. Here's the thing though, that's not even the worst part. The worst part is that sooner or later, if you want to succeed, you have to start playing along. To understand how we got here, we need to go back to the beginning, back to a guy named Reid Hoffman. Hoffman isn't as famous as Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg, but in Silicon Valley circles, he's been called the most connected man in tech. He was part of PayPal's early leadership. You know, the so-called PayPal mafia that went on to dominate the tech industry. Peter Thiel gets credit for being an early Facebook investor, but it was actually Hoffman who brokered that introduction to Zuckerberg. His whole thing was connection. And in 2003, he turned that into a product. When LinkedIn launched, it was dead simple. Put your resume online, connect with colleagues. That was it. An address book for the professional world. And honestly, if it had stayed that way, we might not be having this conversation. But Hoffman had bigger plans. In a 2014 interview with Sam Altman, he explained his growth strategy. The first 1,000 users were easy.
How did you get the first million or even the first 1,000 users for LinkedIn?
So first 1,000 was easy. We just sent out invitations.
He just invited his Silicon Valley network. But to go viral, he needed something more. He needed people to feel like they were missing out. The key innovation, as Hoffman himself described it, was getting users to upload their address books.
Probably the key thing that we innovated, and we were the first people to do this, that then caused the growth curve to change, was upload your address book and see who else you knew was in LinkedIn.
The platform would check who was already on LinkedIn, then ask if you wanted to invite others. Here's what Hoffman didn't emphasize in that interview, though. The system was deliberately vague. It made it seem like your contacts were already on the platform and you were just sending a friend request. Instead, people accidentally blasted their entire contact list with invitation emails. It took about 3 emails on average to convert someone into a user, but the sheer volume of invitations was staggering. LinkedIn grew like wildfire, from thousands to millions to hundreds of millions of users in just a few years. Here's where it gets interesting. LinkedIn started as a utility, like a professional phone book, but over time, it mutated into something else entirely. In 2007, they added professional photos. Seems harmless, right? But it was the first step away from pure utility towards social media territory. In 2012, they let users follow accounts like Twitter. First, it was just big CEOs and politicians, but soon everyone could post their hot takes on business and life. That same year, they added more photos, videos, and personal branding elements. The professional Rolodex was becoming Instagram's corporate cousin. Then in 2015, they launched a full social media style content feed, borrowed from a startup they'd acquired. And that was really the final nail in the coffin. The incentives completely shifted. It was no longer about actual professional connections or job opportunity. It became about likes, followers, online clout. LinkedIn had created a parallel dimension to the workplace, one where your fake corporate persona becomes your entire identity. If you've used LinkedIn to actually search for a job recently, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You create a profile, optimize your keywords, and suddenly your inbox lights up with messages. Exciting, right? Except 99% of those messages are garbage. Recruiters mass messaging thousands of people at once. Jobs that aren't in your location. Jobs that don't match your actual title. And if you're unlucky, scammers trying to hack your account. LinkedIn could absolutely crack down on this. They have the resources, they have the data. But here's the thing. All that noise keeps you coming back to check notifications. It drives engagement. And then there's the ghost job problem. According to recent industry surveys, around 30% of job postings online are for positions that aren't actually available. In some industries, it's nearly double that. Companies post fake openings for all sorts of reasons, to look like they're growing, to collect resumes for future use, to see what talent is out there. So, depending on your field, over half the applications you're agonizing over are going absolutely nowhere. Meanwhile, LinkedIn dangles premium subscriptions in front of you. $30 a month for individuals, with promises of better visibility and higher response rates. The pitch is basically, pay us and you'll be more likely to get a job, which means it's in their interest to keep you searching. But honestly, the job search dysfunction might not even be the platform's most toxic element. That honor goes to the content. Scroll through your LinkedIn feed for 5 minutes. You'll find CEOs posting crying selfies after laying off their workforce. You'll find people bragging about how their obsession with work nearly destroyed their marriage, but framing it as an inspirational lesson for entrepreneurs. You'll find completely fabricated stories designed to go viral and sell books or courses. The algorithm rewards this. The more engagement a post gets, even if that engagement is people cringing, the more it spreads. LinkedIn has created a competition for who can humble brag the hardest, who can dress up their success in the most engaging package of corporate buzzwords and emotional manipulation. And it gets worse. Creating a profile now is less like writing a resume and more like optimizing a dating app profile. You need visual appeal. You need attention-grabbing titles packed with buzzwords. The number of posts you make and hashtags you use matters more than your actual qualifications. Your real-world experience still helps, sure, but it can easily get lost in the noise if you don't play the content game. This is where I think the dating app comparison is really instructive. Just like on Tinder, you're now competing with a vastly larger pool of people than you would in the real world. Recruiters can see candidates from anywhere. The numbers just don't add up for most applicants. There are way more job seekers than positions, just like there are way more men than women on dating apps. So what do people do? The shotgun approach. Blast out hundreds of applications to anything that looks remotely relevant, which floods employers with applications, making them pickier, which makes the process harder for everyone. It's a race to the bottom. Meanwhile, employers develop this illusion of infinite choice. They wait months or years for some perfect dream candidate, ignoring all the qualified people actually applying. So why does LinkedIn work this way? I think there are a few factors at play here. First, there's the obvious profit motive. LinkedIn makes money from premium subscriptions, recruitment tools, and advertising. All of those benefit from high engagement and desperate users. A perfectly efficient job market where everyone finds work quickly would actually be bad for their bottom line. Second, I think there's something more ideological going on. Reid Hoffman has talked openly about wanting to build products that change how people operate in systems. In one interview, he said he's interested in making products that make people better for the system. You can interpret that charitably or not, but it's telling. LinkedIn hasn't just reflected corporate culture, it's actively shaped it. The platform takes the worst parts of office politics, the networking, the performance, the constant self-promotion, and turns them into a 24/7 requirement. You used to only have to perform at work. Now you have to perform all the time. Look at what happens when people get laid off now. After Meta fired 11,000 employees in 2022, the LinkedIn posts that followed were almost comically uniform. People thanked the company that just fired them. They talked about how grateful they were for the opportunity. They posted pictures of their dogs and kids. It's all performance, a dance you have to do because you need to show your next potential employer how positive and professional you are, even in the worst moments. Before LinkedIn, getting fired was at least a moment where you could drop the corporate act. Take a breath, be yourself. Now, the show must go on. Now, to be fair, LinkedIn isn't pure evil. The platform has genuinely helped people find jobs. It's made it easier to maintain professional connections across distances and job changes. For industries where networking is everything, it's lowered barriers to entry for people who don't have built-in connections. And some of the problems I've described aren't unique to LinkedIn. Ghost jobs exist on every job board. Corporate culture was performative long before social media. LinkedIn didn't create these problems. In many ways, it just made existing problems more visible and more intense. The company has also made some improvements over the years. They've rolled out tools to fight spam and fake accounts. They've added features to make it easier to signal you're open to opportunities. Whether these efforts go far enough is debatable, but they're not doing nothing. So where does this leave us? The uncomfortable truth is that for many industries, LinkedIn is unavoidable. It's become the default infrastructure for professional networking and job searching. Walking away entirely could genuinely hurt your career. But I think there's a middle path. You can use the platform strategically, maintaining connections, applying to jobs, without drinking the Kool-Aid. You don't have to post crying selfies or humble brags. You don't have to treat every moment of your life as content for your professional brand. One thing to watch. AI is about to make all of this worse. It's now trivially easy to generate LinkedIn-style content. Expect the feed to get even more polluted with AI-generated slop. At the same time, LinkedIn is hoovering up all that user data, your posts, your profile, your connections, to train their own AI model. If you care about that, it's worth reviewing your privacy setting. What would actually fix LinkedIn? More transparency around job postings, maybe requiring companies to disclose if a listing is active, cracking down on recruiter spam with real consequences, deprioritizing engagement bait in the algorithm. Will any of that happen? I'm not optimistic. Look, I know a lot of you watching this have your own LinkedIn horror story. Maybe it's a recruiter who ghosted you after 5 rounds of interview. Maybe it's a viral post so cringeworthy it broke something inside you. I want to hear about it. Drop your experiences in the comment. And if this video resonated with you, consider subscribing. We've got more deep dives into the tech platforms shaping our lives, for better and worse, coming soon. Until then, good luck out there. And remember, you're not your LinkedIn profile.